Good evening, Diecast fans. I'm Tom Spanners Watson.
And I'm Frank the Guru Gibbs.
Welcome to another action-packed show. We got lots for you tonight, so let's rip into it. Okay, first up on the news, the Diecast Racing Report latest edition is out. Make sure you check that out, diecastracingreport.com, and also head over to redlinederby.com for all of the racing calendar. And then in the tips section, there's a great article there on cone-shaped wheels. Now, cone-shaped wheels help increase your speed because there's less points of contact. Head over to Redline Derby and check out that article. And then Diecast 64E's, the rookie series, this week focused on modding with lead. And we know there's a lot of people out there asking about how to do it. Go and check that video out.
Alright, moving into drag racing, we kick off with Simon over at Hot Car Track for his Thursday night hot rods. Now, Mike Dyson had an absolute blinder last week, but he was having some trouble this week. And you see there, he just completely lost it coming out of turn 2, and then getting pipped right at the post is a bit rough.
Diecast Draggor this week had the actual final for their champion of Scythe Raceway. Now, some great tight racing action there. But on top of that, he also debuted a new track. So this is a custom-built track called Pines Peak. Kicks off in a 10-story custom-built car park building, runs through 2 other car parks and down. So it's 2 lanes all the way this time, rather than being the fat track that he had. Definitely check that one out.
Then Mr. Moms Racing continued on with their FTE competition. I mean, they just have so many FTEs, it's unfair. I just love this Dodge Daytona here. It is beautiful casting, and I just love their video work. I mean, it just looks so epic, and you see how fast they're travelling down that monster track.
Yeah, it's a beauty, alright. Now, new to us, Red Pill Racing. They've been around for quite a while, and he was doing an awesome thing with these 2 cars here, looking at, whilst he was drag racing them, it was also testing to see if he could make improvements to the speed. You can see there he's timing each one and he worked out the averages. Some great tips if you're looking to modify cars.
And then Josh over at Rust Belt Racing had the big final of the lightweight series. So these things were actually under 20 grams. We've said before they were 28 grams, but it's actually under 20 grams. So these things are ultra light. Some great racing. Head over and check it out.
And fast becoming our favourite new drag track is Wallside Racing, and it's all due to this jump here.
Wow, that is just such a cool jump, and that car handled that well.
I know, mate, it was very impressive. Alright, heading over to tournaments. This week, 3D Botmaker debuted the Camaro Summer. So this looks like it's going to be an absolutely epic tournament. If the Ferrari tournament and the stock car race are anything to go by, it's going to be some fantastic racing. You definitely want to go and check that out. That'll be kicking off very shortly.
Chris over at Trax Racing continued his series, and man, there was some great wrecks in there.
That's right, just like at the Canyon, it's not just about being fast. If you can't handle the curves, you might as well forget about it. And then speaking of wrecks, Sub 4RA had his Liquid Rush series, and you saw that. Look how many cars wrecked in that race. It's ridiculous. Like, heaps of them started, and you see a replay here of that very opening part of the lap. Come down, these 2 cars here just wipes out the car behind them, then the others go around that corner and another 2 wipe out.
Man, that's some serious carnage right there.
Absolutely, mate. But exciting racing. Head over to Sub 4RA and check out that full series.
Pinot Tabor had their next series as well, with these 2 cars racing down. Now, this is another shorter track, but there's still lots of action. Just because the track's short doesn't mean you don't get excitement. I mean, there, you'll see in the replay, this guy here flipping over in that first turn, comes in and just rolls it.
And there was more action over at Jackson Pass Speedway. Now, they took a week off last week for summer holidays, but they did 2 races this week to make up for it, and there was lots of action. And here you see this car flipping and then completely getting spun around like a turtle on its back. as the other car just runs away with it. So you see the replay here, he flips coming out of that very first turn, slides down, then gets clipped and just gets spun around. Reminds me of the cop car in Blues Brothers. And then here, car well out in the front and then blows it on that last corner.
And we've got to give a big shout out to Nocky Jack, whose birthday it is this week. Happy birthday, mate. Hope you had an awesome one. Live Young Diecast started a new track. Now this is Baja Drag, and it's a great little track with these little jumps. But man, it's exciting. Check this out.
Holy smokes, that's awesome. Love it. Oh yeah, definitely have to check that one out. Then Indiana Diecast Racing had their next series, and it's great to see all these little track improvements coming through. So I see there's lots of new buildings and things going on there, and still lots of excitement on this track. And then here, more tight racing. Just great action. Go and check it out. Indiana Diecast Racing.
And then Hot Wheels Calgary continue on with their daily races. So this is pretty epic. They have a ton of races, and on this new course, it is mental. He used to do it just on a straight drag track, which was pretty easy, but look how many curves and twists and turns there are in this track. It's pretty epic. Go and check those ones out.
And the Amigos continued on with their Desert Showdown. Now check out the spin of this car here as he clips one of the buildings on the way through, and interestingly still managed one of the fastest times. And then into the showdown, some very tight racing there. Drivers swapping some paint, but great series.
Moving over to street racing, Hot Car Track continues on with his Road Warriors tournament. Now this thing is epic. It's an 8-week competition, and there are some brilliant races. These are all modified vehicles, and there are some stunning examples. We just got a couple of races here. So you see this GT40 in behind, but then boom, pulls to the inside and just absolutely smokes the competition. You see it there. It's just a beautiful maneuver. Absolutely drives around him. Lots of exciting action there. Go and check it out.
3D Botmaker continued on with the King of the Mountain tournament. This time it was the exotics, and there was some more brilliant racing action. This was probably one of the cleanest series we've seen so far, with some uber tight finishes. I mean, just look at those drivers, bumper to bumper, and this overtake maneuver here, absolutely stunning. The pace of that blue car was phenomenal. Heading over to Diecast Racer X next. And these cars are lightning fast on this track. He must have been sprinting to keep up with them with the camera. Like, these cars cover a huge amount of distance on a very twisty track. And again, he's another channel that has racing almost every day, so there's lots to watch.
And we've been hanging out for this one from DRC Racing. This is their new yard race. It's not clear yet whether they've pulled down their original track and just built this one, or if this is in conjunction with it, but this race was awesome. These two cars, I was sure were going to flip over in those corners because they're so high, but look at this, they just handled it beautifully. It's a fantastic track. I mean, they did get a bit wild right at the end there. Check this out in slow-mo. Climbs the walls. Not quite sure where that driver thought he was going, but then he gets smacked in the back by the guy who didn't like losing.
Yeah, that track looks epic. And then Indonesia Diecast Racing continued on with their Borneo Blazing tournament. So these two cars here had some very good races, and check out the silver car here. This was probably the cleanest drive we've seen on this track yet. First two corners not so bad, but here, beautiful handling around that first turn, and even around the second, not one spin. But don't worry, there's plenty of crashes and spinning to be had, as you can see there, and right there.
She's a great series and such an interesting track to watch. I really like it. Then War on I-4 took a break from their open wheel series to do some grudge races. So these are a one and done race, and they're awesome. There's a bunch of them there, so definitely go and have a look. There's like 3 or 4 just this last week, and that car there was absolutely flying through the track.
But of course, our other big favourite, Flat Rabbit Racing, just kicked off one today, the Visitor. Now, these guys don't just race, they tell amazing stories with some great effects and highly, highly entertaining. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure you check it out. It is absolutely brilliant. What do you got on today, Frank?
Alright, so today, seeing you a bit stingy last week, I thought I'd show a few more shots of the track.
Dude, I thought we said we weren't going to do that till next week.
Yeah, I know, but got a lot of people asking about when the new track's going to be out, and I just wanted to show off some of these things we've been doing. But it's okay, we'll do the proper big reveal and the full track show off next week.
Okay, I'll let you get away with that one. Moving into grassroots racing. Main Street racers got outside and had a bit of fun, and that's the sort of thing that we like in grassroots racing. I mean, who doesn't enjoy a good loop-de-loop? And you know that at the Canyon we love a good jump, and check these out. That is just a monster jump, and those bone shakers were loose as anything.
And speaking of loose, check out the stunt of the week. This one comes from Trax Racing, and check this bad boy out.
Didn't look that spectacular, mate. The GT40 just fell over.
No, but check out the GTR. He's in the outside lane and goes to the inside.
Whoa, how is that even possible? All the inertia is taken him to the outside of the track, but he jumps lanes to the inside. I have never seen that before.
And that, mate, is why it had to be stunt of the week this week.
Wow, good call, mate. Glad you picked it. Alright, that's enough for this week. We hope you've enjoyed it. As always, if you are looking for information on diecast racing, head over to redlinederby.com. Make sure you're filling in your race calendar so that we can get those up on screen so that everybody knows what's going on. We'd like to thank all the tracks that allow us to use their footage. We couldn't do it without their permission. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. I'm Tom Spanners Watson. He's Frank the Guru Gibbs, and we will see you next time.
Mate, it was good to see a few of the people found their secret footage last week. You think they'll find this week's one?
Probably, mate. Probably.